We go back to what happened in the Oval Office the other day. I call it a smackdown of Zelensky. It looked really rough, but then again, at the end of the day, you may have your deal back. So was that all the art of the deal? Or what specifically ticked you off?
Well, you know, he was able to, it was like taking candy from a baby, what he did. He's a smart guy, and he's a tough guy. And he took money out of this country under Biden like candy from a baby. It was so easy, with that same attitude. And I just don't think he's grateful. We gave him, in my opinion, $350 billion. Europe is in for $100 billion. We gave him $350 billion, and he's talking about the fact that they have fought, and there's a bravery, because somebody has to use the weapons. But without those weapons, don't forget, I was the one that gave him the javelins that was able to knock down all the tanks. Obama gave nothing.
US President Donald Trump says he's finding it harder to deal with Russia, as he believes Russian President Vladimir Putin wants peace. Earlier, Donald Trump told Kiev and Moscow to begin ceasefire negotiations before it's too late. He's now threatening Moscow with large-scale banking sanctions and tariffs because there had been a number of targets, Ukrainian targets, that were last night struck by Russian drones.
We're doing very well with Russia. But right now they're bombing the hell out of Ukraine, and I'm finding it more difficult, frankly, to deal with Ukraine. And they don't have the cards. They don't have the cards. As you know, we're meeting in Saudi Arabia on sometime next week, early. And we're talking, I find that in terms of getting a final settlement, it may be easier dealing with Russia, which is surprising because they have all the cards.
Well, Sky's James Matthews has more on this now from Washington.
I have to say, the mood music going into those talks for Ukraine, from their perspective, won't have been helped by what they just heard from Donald Trump, I don't think. That line about finding it difficult to deal with Ukraine. But more than that, in terms of final settlement, it may be easier dealing with Russia, he said, because they hold all the cards. Ukraine's complaint has been that Donald Trump hasn't dealt them any cards in terms of the security guarantees that they are after, in terms of NATO membership, in terms of Russia holding on to the land that it has already seized or not. So these are the discussions that Ukraine wants to have before it engages with Russia. But to hear Donald Trump write off those expectations essentially and say all the strength lies with Russia, that won't go down well in Kyiv. Something else that won't go down well, Jonathan, is the fact that Donald Trump very clearly acknowledged that he knows he has weakened Ukraine by withholding weapons and withholding US intelligence. He was asked a couple of times about these pauses in support, and his answer was Russia is pounding Ukraine. Separately, he spoke about Putin doing what anyone else would do. He's hitting them harder than he has been hitting them, with a view to putting himself in a strong position prior to any peace talks. So, got clear acknowledgement from Donald Trump that he knows the weakness, the suffering that he has brought about by withholding this critical support for Ukraine. They can't be happy with that. So, yeah, not great from a Ukrainian point of view, that press conference. It comes on the back of this Truth Social tweet this morning, and you alluded to it, Trump talking about how he was strongly considering large-scale banking sanctions against Russia, an acknowledgement from him that he needs to lean into Russia and to show or respond to this criticism that he is rolling over for Vladimir Putin. So to that extent, that's what he's given us today, a strong consideration of banking sanctions, no more than consideration, mind you.